these matters with them privately before I opine on them publicly. I would say that broadly speaking, we of course don't want to see any action that makes a Syrian-led process more difficult, and we ultimately want to see a peaceful process forward, not an escalation of the conflict.
So you think what you're saying is that what Israel is doing, whether it's conquering the rest of the Golan and so on, the attacks that it's conducting, it is like 35 kilometers from Damascus and so on. That is a private matter?
So
is that a private? Is that an Israeli decision?
No. So first of all, let me just point out, with respect to the location of Israeli forces, and I'm not attesting one way or the other. I know there are conflicting claims about where they are, and they have strenuously denied that they are close to Damascus. They have said that they are in the their forces on the ground are in the buffer zone, and I spoke to this at length yesterday. But when it comes to their operations, I think it's appropriate for us to speak to them privately first, ascertain what it is they're doing before we opine on that publicly. They're a close ally of ours, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, but just one more on this. So, is it the wish of the United States of America to see a Syria that is disarmed, that does not have an army, does not have an air force, that probably has militias like this? Is that the purpose?
We do not want to see that probably has militias. Is that what you said?
No, I'm just saying.
No, we do not want to see it. We do not want to see it. That one's easy. We do not want to see a Syria that has militias. Look, ultimately,
I'm saying that you accept the fact that it has militias now.
So you laid out the principle, and one of the things that you heard us say is we want to see Syria that's not a base for terrorism. It's not a base for terrorist organizations. Not to say that every militia, of course, is a terrorist organization. But no, Said, let me give me a second. We have outlined the principles that we think ought to guide Syria as it goes forward. Beyond that, these are questions for the Syrian people to have to answer as it relates to what type of government they are going to form, what type of military they are going to maintain. And when it comes to the actions that Israel has taken over the past 24 hours, like I said, let us have these conversations with them privately. I know that this is obviously not our last press briefing that we are going to hold in the Department of State. We will have more to say at a later time.
Question on this point. Would you call from this podium or any other podium on Israel to cease and desist from its military attacks on Syria?
Saeed, this is basically the same question you asked me in another format. Saeed, let me answer the question. You asked the same question, you are going to get the same answer. That's how it's going to go. I do think it's appropriate this time for us to have that conversation with them, find out what it is actually that they are trying to accomplish, and then after we have done that, we will certainly have more to say.
Okay. You said you wanted to talk to the Israeli privately, but Netanyahu himself said that we have destroyed 70 to 80% of the Syrian army assets. So that will set the military capabilities of the new government to decades to come. So how are they supposed to defend themselves if they have a chance to become a sovereign, stable region power in the region?
First of all, my position on this has not changed from 30 seconds ago when Saeed asked the underlying question. Nadia, let me just finish. Nadia, please let me finish before I swear to you I will not interrupt the question if you pay me the same respect to not interrupt my answer. So I'm just not going to speak to an operation that we haven't had the ability to have an in-depth discussion with them about yet. I think that's appropriate. We want to learn more about what they were trying to do. We want to learn more about the facts, and then we'll certainly have more to say about it. Look, when it comes to the provision of weapons inside Syria, I don't think that one of the challenges facing people inside Syria right now is a shortage of weapons inside Syria. If you look at what the civil war of the last 13 years now, if anything, there has been a surplus of weapons and munition on the ground in Syria. But that said, to respond to your question, I think it's appropriate that we take our time and assess this and have more before we have more to say.